There's an old saying that says life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. This week, life threw me a couple more curveballs, but weekly budgeting has made me a better hitter. I'm still swinging for the fences, and in this weekly update, I'm going to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about household budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. So if those are things that you vibe with, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below because I'd love to hear from you. So the first thing that I want to do this week is a cash dump, as always, but before I get to that, I'll just say that I did incur quite a few unanticipated expenses this week. I had another doctor visit. I went to see a specialist on Monday. I had a trip to urgent care last week, and they gave me a treatment that didn't really seem to be working. So at the end of the week, I called the specialist's office and made an appointment. They got me in first thing Monday morning. Didn't really have a satisfactory office visit, but I'm going to get the bill anyway. The good news is that the condition that I had is pretty much resolved. So I got through it. It's worth every penny not to have the affliction that I had. I won't go into it in detail, but just suffice to say, I'm going to get those medical bills probably next month. So I'll have to remember to watch for that in the July budget. Also, as if that weren't enough, on Saturday of last week, I chipped a tooth. So in addition to having an emergency office visit with a specialist for the medical, I also had to make an emergency trip to the dentist to have that tooth repaired. So the good news is that I didn't have to have any shots or any Novocaine or anything like that. It was a relatively short visit, but I'm going to get the bill. I have no idea what insurance is going to pay or how quickly they're going to pay, but again, I anticipate probably I'll get that bill in July. Okay, so all that being said, let's get to the cash dump and let's see how much cash I was able to not spend this week. So I'm going to set aside the budget binder here. I think I'll just drop it on the floor. That seems like a logical place. And if you haven't seen one of my weekly update videos before, I use 4 pouches to manage the cash that I use on a weekly basis. So this blue pouch holds all of the money that I give myself for the week. Usually it's $100. This week I think I started with $120. I can't exactly remember why I had that or why it was $20 more than normal, but at any rate, that's what I'm going with. This pouch here is all of the 5s and 1s that I don't spend, as well as all of the change for the week. This one is the pouch that holds all of the 5s and 1s for the month. So every week I transfer from here to here. And then this bad boy holds all of the loose change. And that just accumulates. This pouch goes into the Letterbox challenge, which I film the first weekend of every month. So let's start with the little pouch here and let's see what's left over. So what I didn't spend out of the cash was $60. So I spent $60 because I think I started with $120. Again, that's what I'm going with. So I've already recorded that in the budget. And that means I also need to take out $40 from the ATM for next week. I don't always spend the $100 that I give myself, but I want to make sure that I have $100 at the start of every week, regardless of how much I spent the week before, just for any of the cash transactions that do come up throughout the week. Okay, so we're done with that one. Now let's talk about this one. This one has a little bit of change in it, not too much, maybe about 55, 56 cents. Let's see, I feel there's another coin in here. 2 coins. Yeah, 55, 56 cents, about that. Okay, so that's all the change that I had this week. And again, the reason is because because I was afflicted, I didn't go to the office. So, well, I did go one day, and that's why there's some change, but I didn't go the 3 days that I usually go. So just a little bit of change here. Scoop that up. And Amazon did announce Prime Day, so I'm probably going to be taking this to Coinstar in the next couple of weeks. I am accumulating this money to spend on Christmas, and I usually do a lot of shopping on Prime Day, so I will probably take this to Coinstar, get an Amazon gift certificate so that Coinstar, or Amazon rather, will pay the coin counting fees instead of me, and then I'll use that on Prime Day for Christmas gifts. So that goes back in there. And then for the cash, let's see what we've got here. I don't know that I put all this in order, but I think I did. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, $17. Okay, so not very much cash, but I only spent 3 of the 20s that I normally give myself. I had to put a lot more on the card because I wasn't going to my regular lunch places, and I also kept forgetting to take cash with me as I was going all over creation to get to the doctor and the dentist. So that is going to go into the monthly pouch. So I will be stuffing this into the Letterbucks challenge the first weekend of July. And if you haven't seen me stuff Letterbucks before, I've got a playlist on my channel so you can go back and watch previous months and see how I do that. I did take the $75 that was in here to the bank. That was from the Letterbucks challenge from May. And so I've got a transaction for that coming up when we get back to the budget binder. So that's it for the cash dump. So let me put these away. I'll get the budget binder back out and we'll start talking about income and bills and expenses for the week. Back in the budget binder now, so let's open it up and go to the budget overview for June. And I've got a few entries to make here. So I always round down my paychecks, and I did get paycheck number 1, and that came in as expected. Under the bills, I did pay the Orca bill for $72. Orca is the local transit card here, so this is my transit pass for July, and I always buy it the 16th of the month before. So $72. I will have another transaction for Orca at the start of the month, and that is for a buy-up. Essentially, like it keeps it in like an electronic purse. So if I take a ride that is more than the value of my pass, it just deducts it from that card. Okay, so that was it for the bills. That was the only one that came through. Wallet spending we'll talk about later. Stockpiles hasn't moved. The reason that I didn't move it was because I was dealing with medical and dental this week, so I just didn't have time. There was no rush to allocate that, so I will do that this coming week, more than likely. Savings and extra debt. I did make my contribution to the Roth IRA for $308. That was from game night. And the savings challenge books, so I'll talk about that in the savings section. So that's it for this sheet for now. So let's go over to the cash flow tracker. And this is like a check register. So here are all of the transactions from this ATM withdrawal on down that came through my account this week. So I had, I also had the deposit for the letterbox that I was talking about earlier. That was $75. That money I would normally put in a different account, but I do need to purchase a gift here pretty quick. It's a birthday present, not a Christmas present, so that money's going to disappear. And all of the gift spending, whether it's birthdays or Christmas, is in kind of the same pot. And there's a lot of June birthdays in my life, May and June. So that money is going to go bye-bye. But for now, it's in the checking account. And then paycheck 1 came in. This is the actual amount, $3,071.63. Like I say, I round it down for budget purposes, but I always record the exact amount here because this needs to match up with what is actually going on in my checking account. Okay, so then for outflows, so the first one here is the ATM for $60. This is what I took out last week. I don't know why I took 60. I should have only taken 40. Maybe I fat fingered it. I don't know. Or there was another 20 that I forgot. I don't know where the extra 20 came from, but at any rate. And then I made a series of credit card payments. I have a variety of credit cards for very specific reasons. This one here is the Prime Visa card, and that is so I get a discount on Amazon. All of this is spending for Ready Budget Go. It's not personal spending, so it's a business expense, but it comes through my checking account anyway because I combine. And then all of these other cards are all of my other just regular spending. Some of it is bills, some of it is groceries, and some of it is subscriptions. And then down here, this UCP card, that is like my bus pass and my internet and things like that because I get good rebates on those on that card. And then I sent $308 to my brokerage for my Roth IRA as well, which we will update here as soon as we get through the expenses. So speaking of the expenses, I went ahead and recorded everything, but I did not add them up and I did not color code them. And fortunately, I've got all of my highlighters buried under a really heavy book. So I'm going to apologize if I shake everything here while I reach over for them, and I hope I don't dump anything on the floor. Okay, got it. So I think we're going to do orange this week. But let's add them up first. So, in the spending for this week, uh, restaurants a few times, DoorDash, teriyaki a couple times. The reason that there's so much of this is because I was on the go 2 full days this week. My the specialist that I went to see, which was on Monday, it was about 40 to 50 miles from where I live, and the dentist is about 35 miles from where I live. So both had to kind of go over hill and dale to get there, but well worth it, especially for the dentist. Not so much for the specialist. I'm glad that the medical need is past. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have made that trip or that appointment, but we are where we are. So, at any rate, all that to say, that's why some of the spending here, this Lyft for transportation, that was because I was running behind because of traffic going to the specialist, and that actually sent me over for the week. But let's add up and get the exact total, and let's see where we are. So we had 660, 2165, 112.99. That was groceries. 2266, 1971, 2442, 770, 1692, 2437, and then I also had $60 in spent cash, so we'll record that here, and we'll add it here, and we get $317.02. So I'm over, not by a lot, and really it was that Lyft ride that pushed me over. If traffic hadn't been bad, then I wouldn't have needed to rely on getting a ride, but that's just the way it goes. And that's why I have an emergency fund, I have a blip fund, I have a buffer in my budget, all of that to cover those little overages. So let's go back to the main budget overview worksheet for June, rather, $317.02. So we're going to record that in week 2. My weeks run from Friday through Thursday, so this was all the spending through June 19th. Okay, so $317.02. It was over again last week. I've got a little bit of a buffer here to be able to cover that and absorb it if I have to. Next month, I will worry about the dental bill and the medical bills, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Speaking of, the July budget video should be out this weekend, so the 20th or the 21st, depending on when I get it done, maybe even the 22nd. I've talked in the past about finding out that I have a half brother, so I'm meeting him for the first time this weekend, and I don't know what that's going to do to the rest of the timetable for filming and whatnot. But at any rate, that's it for the budget overview. So now let's talk about savings, which is the really fun part. When we flip over to that section here, we'll talk about the Roth IRA. So here we are, and on June 18th, I added $308 for a total contribution of $4,469 this year. And that means I can stamp off 3 more of the little sloths in the sloth IRA. So 1, 2, and 3. So we're getting closer. Got 2 full rows left and a little bit here. So well over halfway to my total $7,000 contribution. Really liking the way that this is shaping up and how things are going. The markets are what the markets are, but at least I'm getting the money into the account. Okay, so then the other thing that we need to talk about is the monetization tracker subscriber count. So this is one of the things that I need to put money toward from my stockpiles for May. This is going toward the big move, which is my next goal after fully funding my Roth IRA, is I plan on moving to a different state next year, ideally, fingers crossed. And to do that, it's going to require a whole bunch of money, so I'm saving up for that. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is by tracking my subscriber count. So everyone who subscribes, I am saving $5 for up to the first 1,000 subscribers, or $5,000. And we hit another milestone last week, which is 520 subscribers. We passed that. So a big thank you again to everyone who has subscribed. That really does touch me a lot, and I very much appreciate it. So I'm going to mark off the tracker here, and I am behind in the contributions. Let me do it this way. There we go. I am behind in the contributions. Again, it's coming out of my stockpile money for June, and I just haven't done it yet because I've been dealing with medical and dental this week. But it's still in the plans. The money's still in the checking account. I was going to put all of the money toward the big move initially, but then I realized that Ready Budget Go needs a cash infusion just because of the way the bills fall for the June launch, which will be happening on June 28th. And I will talk about that a little bit later. But all of that I pay up front for my production partners. So I need to make sure that I have that covered before revenue, essentially from what I sell, replaces it. Okay, so that is done. So the tracker's now up to date. We're at the 520 mark here, which means that I should have 2,600 in the account, but right now I have only 2,000. So I will be putting the $600 in at some point this week. So next week, this should be updated and should be current, unless I get another surge in subscribers and it pushes me behind again. But that's okay. I certainly don't mind that. I will play catch up for as long as I have to until I am fully caught up. So every time that I get another 10 subscribers, I color in another circle. And then, like I say, once I get mostly caught up, I should be able to continue with adding in more money toward the big move based on how we move on the subscriber count. So if you haven't subscribed already, it's a great incentive to hit the subscribe button because I'll save $5 if you do. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the saving and the spending this week and the income and everything else. I do have a couple programming notes to announce, and I've talked about these a little bit already. So this weekend, the July budget will be coming out. Next weekend, the weekend of the 27th, 28th, that will be the June launch. There will be new products coming to my Etsy shop. I will say that some of them are budgeting tools, some of them are savings challenges. There's one in particular that the printer did not print correctly, so I'm having that redone. I'm hoping they can get that to me this week. This week being the week of the 23rd, but TBD. They're in another state, so it takes a while for them to ship to me. But if they expedite, then I should have it in time for the launch. And if not, that one will push to July, and I'll have everything else though. So I've got about 4 or 5 new items, depending, coming to the shop. And you'll see those, like I say, the weekend of the 27th, 28th. Okay. And then first weekend of July will be Letterbucks. Otherwise, I've got Monday night for playing games for saving. And then Wednesday is the Savings Challenge books. And of course, next Friday, I'll be right back here again for another update on my income, my spending, and all of the things that are going on in my money life. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, especially for watching through to the end. That helps the algorithm a lot, helps the channel a lot, and it means a lot to me personally. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a thumbs up. Again, subscribe if you're new, if you want to be one of these pretty colors on this tracker. And until I see you in the next one, take care.